Sasha Adigawa, that is at the Kulatpa. But that's Azia, I cannot say that here, what Hamat are. Okay, like shut up with that.
Ubykhs don't speak their own language anymore. I set out when I learned that the last Ubykh who could speak his mother tongue was living in a village called Hacı Osman in the southern part of Marmara region. There remained no other Ubykh who remembered his dying language as much as he did. "81 years old, Tevfik Esenç, a frightening solitude. The end of his life will be the death date of his language." The French historian of language and religion, Georges Dumézil, was the first person who tried to capture these last voices. He began his research into the Ubykh language in 1930, extending his efforts with the help of Tevfik Esenç for as long as 30 years from 1956 till his death in 1985. Dumézil managed to record and master this oral language in the throes of its death for posterity. Since this research, the life of Tevfik Esenç, once a simple peasant, has changed a great deal. He's been accepted as the most dependable authority on the Ubykh language in the universities of Paris and Oslo. After his retirement from the civil service in Istanbul, he returned to his village. The Norwegian researcher Hans Vogt, who edited an Ubykh dictionary, also traveled on these dusty roads and knocked at Esenç's door. Both Vogt and Dumézil have already passed away. Esenç, whom Dumézil praised as being a colleague rather than a guide, has still an open door for those who treasure rare words and unexplored history and continues to fulfill his tragic mission. The old but unfailing memory of Esenç is now guiding Professor George Şaraşidze, an ex-student and assistant of George de Mezil. Ubykh is a language of northwestern Caucasia. It is comprised of 85 phonemes, of which 82 are consonants and the remaining 3 are vowels. According to the specialists, this language is close to Abaza, which is one of the Caucasian languages. In other respects, it is related to the language of the Hittites. Saving a sound, one word more off the grip of time, is relieving the pain of absence a little.
Ne demek Türkçe? Ve arabı?
Bu arabı, nefesin keskin. Buna üfleyiver, dua şeyinle mesela.
Uyuza tutulmuş.
Uyuza tutulmuş. Şok, üfle.
Bu
keçiye üfle dedi.
Üfle, tamam. İçin sen şoit.
İçin sen şoitti. Sen şoitti, ne yapardı?
Yahut sen şu şey.
Yahut sen şu şey.
Tamam, Tevfik Bey, şimdi Ubykçe.
Şaraşidze asks Esenç if the names of the months in Ubykh still exist or not. Yes, some of them are missing, but Esenç gives the names of those he can remember.
Ama başlayın. Hanım. Şöyle Han.
What's left there behind the experiences, the habits, the songs, and the sensibilities which the sharp and deep sounds of Ubykh have named so far? I am looking for all these, and I see that the language doesn't go to its death alone. Speaking a language, the oldest in Caucasia, the richest in the world in its sounds, Ubykhs were an important part of the Circassian culture. In the 19th century, they were confronted with the assaults of Tsarist Russia. The Russians were strong, the battle was terrible, and the Ubykhs were brave warriors, but few in number. For fear of being wholly eliminated, they decided to speak the language of their neighbors, Abzaks, and they were assimilated by the Circassian tribes. There was a minority of Ubykhs amongst the 400,000 or so of Circassians leaving their motherland after they were defeated by the Russians. Only a handful of old people could speak the language of Ubykhs, who sheltered themselves on the generous land of Anatolia. So they began to fill their ears with the sounds of the Turkish language. The Ubykh name of the village, Lakoshue, the white hare that walks, has hidden itself for a long time in its lonely and inaccessible position upon the Caucasus, in just the same way as horses, mountain passes, steppes, beggars, winds, and eagles did. Ubykhs respected trees as sacred beings, and they had the oak tree as a deity. Combining the waters, heavens, and earth, theirs was an awareness with which they interpreted all this, from the rustling of leaves to the ripples on a pond, from the slightest motion to celestial phenomena. And now I'm trying to catch the whispers of this 125-year-old oak tree which settled itself in the middle of the village. The tree is whispering that the golden fleece, in quest of which Argonauts sailed to Caucasia, was suspended on its branches by the Colchian king Aeetes. Old old oak tree, of which Esenç says it is the oldest witness of the village. It knows everything about us. Fill my ears with the last voices echoing in your shadow. I'll be all ears. Nothing in life is lost. That's what I shudder to see. Everything either hides itself in a remote spot or is forgotten in the forest of time. That's all. This must be the secret that those who treasure rare words and unexplored history have run after so far.
İşte sakineyi.
Ne çıkabileceksin sakine?
Surat.
Çok erken oldu. Başka bir şey şu an izlemedi. Oldu.
What a great misfortune to be a mere observer of this festivity. The hours of the morning as valuable as gold. The sad affection, that simple relationship which Hacı Osman village has established with life is going on. What is more attractive for an old man than a coffee house chat? The traveling barber frequenting the village once a week has just come again. An active day in the coffee house. A ritual repeated every week. prick up my ears to a bit of a chat in Ubykh. The last voices of a few elderly people who can only understand Ubykh very little and whose memories are tired and recollections weak. Only that much. Everything is changing. Such is fate. In the past, the Ubykhs led a life organized by a body of traditional rules called kabze. These rules formed a moral code that controlled their whole life. But now, all is passing away. Only a taste, a smell of the past remain. That's all. The moon will tumble down the wooden bench. New sounds will rush at the quiet recollections of the past. Only he, perhaps, will remember vaguely the chats around the heart. That's all.
Karşılıksız mı ne demek o? Ama bunu sormamalıydınız Bayan Hayes.
Ne demek ha? Karşılıksız çek ne demekmiş ha? Anlatacağım size ne demek olduğunu.
And the sun will rise again. The old ones will miss the young ones who go away. A little silence. That's all. Suddenly, I will remember his last words. Words I will repeat so that their last voices are not forgotten. I'll stay here lost in thought. That's all. I've seen many a death. It's been a long time since I was born. but I have no more strength left. I know my heart won't take it much longer. And I can't be quiet. Something forces me to speak. I want to describe in my mother tongue, forgetting and being forgotten. The spleen, the solitude, the unimaginable indifference, the incredible tales, the legends, and the arts. Who will inherit these notes in Old Turkish that I've been taking for years? A life, a leaf, time takes away. Its well is so deep, perhaps in it our voice is nearly lost.
Oynasun da büyüsün ninni, tıpış tıpış yürüsün ninni. Allah uyku.
Will the children who find our bones under the earth realize that once in olden times we were as quick as hares?
Tıpış tıpış yürüsün ninni.
Singing together those working songs of the past calms down our hearts a little. That's all.
Hey, hey, hey, hey!